God is the necessary condition for life. We can put anything in there. So let's go ahead and put intelligibility in there. How we can have logic, reason, math, theory, all of these metaphysical categories that transcends the physical. I do believe that human beings do evolve. That's what happens. Our immune system gets a little bit better. Like human being, that's what happens. But to say that we came from like another animal, or we came from a sea animal or like a banana, just because there's some common DNA structures within us and a chimpanzee, or us and a banana. All right. Welcome to nofugazee podcast. Or Hunter, does God exist?
Well, so you said you're using the transcendental argument for God. So that's like stuff like logic, morals, intelligence. You think that you believe that it doesn't make sense. It only makes sense within a framework provided by God, right?
Correct. Yeah. So I'll just go ahead and flesh out my argument for you guys to make it super simple. So X is the necessary, and shout outs to Jay Dyer. X is the necessary condition for Y. Y therefore X. So that's the argument. So we can go ahead and put God is the necessary condition for, life. We can put anything in there. So let's go ahead and put intelligibility in there. Intelligibility is basically how we can have logic, reason, math, theory, all of these metaphysical categories that transcends the physical. So to make the argument simple for you, well, you do understand the transcendental argument then?
Right, yeah. One of the objections that I necessarily have to it is that conceptual necessity doesn't really necessarily guarantee ontological necessity. So something might be necessary for us to understand, but that doesn't prove it actually exists in reality.
So you're saying that logic doesn't exist in reality?
I'm saying that conceptual necessity doesn't necessarily guarantee ontological necessity.
So does logic not exist? Yes or no? I'm trying to understand.
Yes, logic exists, but to argue against that, morality, logic, and those concepts, they can be founded on other things, not necessarily God.
So logic, morality can be found. What do you mean by found? How can you find?
They can be founded. What
do you mean by founded?
What they mean. So morality, logic, and intelligence, things like that, those concepts can be founded on other things, not necessarily God.
I'm not asking about what do they mean, right? I'm asking you
what founded means, right?
I'm not sure what you mean by founded. Do you mean grounded? Like what grounded? What grounds these metaphysical categories?
Yeah. You could use that too. Yeah.
Okay. So my stance is logic, reason, number theory, information, the self. All of these categories transcend the physical. They have a different ontology than us. And these things, logic, reason, math theory, the self, which is the soul, which is consciousness, right? That, which is not consciousness, which is the soul, which is like your mind,
your essence.
That is all grounded in God. Because does 1 + 1 always equal 2? Does 1 + 1 always equal 2?
Yes.
Okay, so that's universal, right? So even if human beings wasn't here, would 1 + 1 always equal 2?
Not necessarily, because there wouldn't be numbers if human beings weren't here.
How wouldn't it be? No, that's not my question. I know the numbers, how we measure things. Human beings use that as a tool, but human beings didn't invent that. We discovered math. We didn't invent math. We discovered math because by observing, we have eyes, by observing the outside world, we can see that things were constructed in an orderly way, in a logical way. So we just observed this. So we discovered what was already here, right? With that being said, if human beings wasn't here, would 1 + 1 still equal 2?
I mean, yeah, because math is math, but it doesn't have to be.
Okay. So if it's the case that 1 + 1 always equals 2, is universal, even if human beings wasn't here,
That doesn't have to be grounded in religion.
What I'm saying is, you have to let me know what it's grounded in then. If it's not currently, what you're saying is that are you saying that, 1 + 1, the math theory itself is grounded in human beings? If it's grounded in human beings, we're finite, we die. So it can't be grounded in human beings, because if human beings wasn't here, you just admitted that math is still here. So I'm asking you then, where are these transcendental categories grounded in? If you do believe they're not part of human beings, what are they a part of?
Well, there's like different interpretations of necessary preconditions. So they can be debated using different philosophical views. So I don't really have a particular.
Well, give me one.
That doesn't necessarily prove the Christian concept of God. There could be other explanations for it.
So the uniqueness proof, it doesn't necessarily prove the Christian concept of God. It can be other things. What are those other things? Be specific.
So I'm trying to think. Let me see the way to get specific about it. So I would say that a lot of things in nature can be like proven with like I remember earlier you were talking about
math, logic, reason, the self, are these things found in nature? Did these things derive out of nature?
Yeah. You could say.
Now you're in a contradiction, because if you say that if humans wasn't here, then 1 + 1 would still equal 2, then would 1 + 1 be grounded in a rock? Can you find 1 + 1 in a banana? 1 + 1 equaling 2, can you find that information and that?
No, but
concept.
What's your point?
Well, where is it grounded in? If it's the case, here's the simple argument, right? So the transcendental argument is undefeated. The reason why it's undefeated is because in my worldview, I can justify, meaning I can give an account to why we have logic, reason, math, language theory, the self, right? Like you being you. Are you, like you as Hunter, are you just your experiences in life? No, you're more than just your experiences in life, because if you were just what you've observed in your experiences, then you would just
that you are just your experiences in life, like what your life is.
If you are
experiences,
what you're not. Have you ever been tempted by something and you chose not to? You chose otherwise. You made a different choice rather than what you've been tempted by.
Sure.
Have you ever made a choice that was outside of what you've observed and what you've experienced?
I'd need a little bit more context. What exactly do you mean?
So hypothetically, yeah. So your experience. So we have what you've been influenced by. What you've been influenced by makes up your experiences and how you perceive the world. So you have your internal experience, you have your internal influences and your external influences. Internal is like your biological nature, you as a man, your nature as a man. And then you have your external experiences, which is culture, your environment, where you were raised, your family, your upbringing, the school you went to, the shows you watch, the games you play, the sports you like, things like that. So you have internal and external. Have you ever did something outside of your internal or your external? Meaning, for internal, have you ever had a craving and chose, well, I'm not going to indulge in the craving? Have you ever had an external experience where it's like, well, I was raised in this type of situation, but Maybe your father was an alcoholic, your grandfather was an alcoholic. You were around alcoholics your entire life, but you chose, so meaning it was a lot of temptation, you chose to not be alcoholic.
Right.
Have you ever did anything, has your will ever superseded the internal and external experiences?
Well, for sure, yeah.
Okay, so therefore, you are not your experiences. You are something else. And that is something else is not explainable through any empirical evidence of looking through a microscope and saying, well, how did he come to this decision? But his external experiences, it should have predicted that he should have walked left instead of right. Or with his external or internal experiences, it should have predicted that he should have been aroused by a woman, but he's gay. He's aroused by a man. You get what I'm saying? So what I'm saying here is,
and I'm not like what I'm like technically arguing for here is just I'm really on the agnostic side, like how in science, if you
1 second, give me 1 second. My son, he's knocking on my studio door. Hold up.
No worries.
Hey, Eric. Hey. No, I'm working. All right, sorry about that, chat. Give me 1 second. Let me just do some housekeeping for the folks that's tuning in live on YouTube. We're also live on Facebook as well. Anybody that's on Facebook that wants to join the stream, come on over to YouTube. That's No Fugazi Podcast on YouTube, and I'll bring you on up. If anybody has any questions, comments, you can go ahead and send in a super chat, and I'll go ahead and bring your comment or question up on screen, and I'll read it out loud. Okay, let's go ahead and continue with the conversation. Real quick. Sacred Experience, I see you back there. You're up next. And then AP, JJ, I still see you backstage as well. I'll bring you up again, man. And when we got AP, go ahead and turn on your camera. But go ahead, Hunter.
So yeah, well, basically the point that I'm trying to come from is, in science, and you want to prove something right, you want to try to prove it wrong, and so very on the agnostic side. I just am in a point where I'm just going through the motions and putting everything that I know against the arguments that there is for. Just like, for example, you said logic and everything requires a transcendental source. I'm exploring that right now. I'm in that kind of.
Yeah. So you believe in science. Do you believe in evolution?
Yes, to a point. Yeah. But not like.
Do you know that evolution is not science?
It's more, I would say it's more, you're thinking more along the lines of like Darwinism.
Well, that's what I'm asking you. Do you believe in evolution cosmology theory that basically...
I don't believe in Darwinism, no. If I don't believe like along those lines. I believe in natural evolution, and I believe in spontaneous evolution. Yes, it's been proven throughout science.
And what do you mean by... So evolution, what do you mean by natural evolution?
Naturally developing... for example, how an animal is in the wild is a natural prey to another animal. So this animal that's a natural prey.
Okay, that's fine. But how does that explain how we got here and even how the animals got here?
Well, there's things that they've done scientifically that connect our DNA to different animals that show us that we have shared ancestors.
No, that's an assertion. That's assuming something.
You can find, I don't want to put on ChatGPT or Google or anything, but if you look it up,
I'm telling you, it doesn't even make logical sense, right? Well, you stated something, but then you made a conclusion also while stating it. You said that, well, in evolution, they can, in these certain animals, they can look through a microscope and look at their DNA, and basically human beings share some type of ancestry, meaning that we've came or they came, because it doesn't even say that did we come from the animal or did the animal come from us. Also, if we share some type of DNA structure, that doesn't mean, just by the word share, it doesn't mean that we came from them or they came from us. It just means that It's like, okay, put it like this. If I have 2 kids, right, and I have many kids, my kids would share DNA, right? They'll be siblings. Does this mean that my son came from my daughter or my daughter came from my son just because they share DNA? No, it's nonsensical.
No, I
So
don't
listen, real
mean.
quick. No, Hunter,
I'm
real quick.
saying shared DNA with an ancestor.
Oh, no, it's still the same argument, Hunter. Listen, if it's the case that you're looking at DNA and DNA shows that, well, right, there's similarities within this DNA structure. This does not mean that it's a shared ancestor. You would have to actually demonstrate how it's shared through some type of empirical evidence. It would have to show that these animals years ago, their ancestors made it somehow, and then also we came from these animals or these animals came from us. You're just saying that what you're doing is you're using it shared and you're coming to a conclusion that we came from the animals.
Well, it's not my conclusion.
But listen, no, it doesn't make, what I'm telling you is it doesn't make it, is not science. Evolution is not science. They don't even, adhere to the scientific method. Do you know what the scientific method is?
Sure.
What's the scientific method?
It's the process of which you conduct an experiment.
Well, yes, the process of which you can conduct the experiment, but do you know how you conduct that experiment? It's okay if you don't know. Totally fine. Yeah. It doesn't even really matter if you don't know. But if you just think about it logically, when you're reading these science books or, you're on YouTube and looking at stuff, they'll jump to conclusions, right? Oh, it's shared. And then they'll just jump to a conclusion. This means that we've came from a monkey. This means that the monkey came from the sea animal because it's shared DNA. I have a brother, shared DNA. Does this mean that I came from my brother? No. Matter of fact, I probably can share some DNA with someone that I'm not even related to. Does this mean that I came from my neighbor because we shared some DNA or my neighbor came from me? It's nonsensical to assume just because something is similar or common that you came from. It's
not really an assumption. I don't think I'm really assuming because I can't find you the exact experiments right now off the top of my head. But there's genetic comparisons that show great similarity between humans and
it's
other
genetic.
primates.
Our DNA is 40% compatible with a banana. Did we come from a banana? Or did the banana come from us? You can Google it. We're like 40% DNA in common. Similarities.
Well, also what I'm saying is like I said, there's genetic comparisons that show great similarity between humans and primates, suggesting a common ancestor. Also, fossil records, they document transitional forms, showing us how the human traits evolved over time. We also see
these are, once again, Hunter, if they're speaking about fossils, most of the time they don't even know. Carbon dating, you don't get the exact date of, because they're probably using carbon dating about these fossils, right? Maybe these animal fossils or maybe dinosaur fossils.
That's who showed me.
Is it carbon dating? What process are they using to determine the age and how old the fossils are?
So it doesn't get into specifics. I didn't really ask it to. I just
come on, man. Use a Chat GPT.
Hey, you thought it was like I didn't know if you thought it was like a certain person I was watching on YouTube or anything. But while you were, I just typed in some evidence for evolution.
That isn't any evidence. Like that my argument isn't stating that things. I believe that things do evolve. I believe that human beings even evolve. Like malaria used to be rampant in Africa, and then the Africans' cells turned into a sickle shape, and then to fight off the malaria, I actually have part of sickle cell trait, right? There's other people that have like sickle cell anemia and they like experience pain and things like that. It's more like a disease, but I have the
Yeah,
sickle cell
it's
trait
bad.
in me, right? Which, because I come from, I guess, that part of Africa, and those humans evolved to fight off certain diseases. I do believe that human beings do evolve, right? That's what happens. Our immune system gets a little bit better. Like human being, that's what happens. But
Right.
to say that we came from like another animal, or we came from a sea animal or like a banana, just because there's some common DNA structures within us and a chimpanzee, or us and a banana, it doesn't mean that we came from